Hey trainers! Once you've gone through the process of assembling your team, you now run into your next challenge, properly tutoring your team. It's okay! It's okay! I got you covered. With that being said, let's teach you guys how to tutor a casual team. Now, keep in mind, this is going to be another lesson for non-competitive play. So, with that being said, let's get started. Before we get into actually tutoring your team, let's go over how moves are categorized. To start, all moves fall into one of three categories: physical, special, and status moves. The first category is physical moves. Physical moves are moves that draw their power from a Pokemon's physical attack stat. This means that if a Pokemon has a high physical attack, its physical attacks will be more powerful, and if its physical attack stat is low, its physical attacks will not be as powerful. The next category is special moves. Special moves draw their power from a Pokemon's special attack stat. Just like physical moves, if the special attack stat is high, special moves will be more powerful, and if its special attack stat is low, its special moves will not be as powerful. And last, we have status moves. Status moves are any moves that do not outright attack the opposing Pokemon. Because of this, status moves don't need to rely on any stat to draw their power from. Instead, these moves do things like alter stats, restore HP, or inflict what we call status conditions. Since we're on the subject, let's quickly go over what status conditions are. Status conditions are different affliction you can give to your opponents or even your own Pokemon to hinder or enhance their power. The first status condition is poison. If a Pokemon is poisoned, its HP will gradually decrease until your Pokemon faints. The second is burn. A burn will do the same thing as poison, but in addition to that, it also lowers your Pokemon's physical attack. The next is paralysis. When a Pokemon is paralyzed, it randomly becomes unable to move, and its speed stat also gets lowered. The next condition is sleep. When a Pokemon is asleep, it will not be able to use any moves outside of Sleep Talk or Snore. Next, we have frozen. When a Pokemon is frozen, it will be unable to move until it thaws out. And finally, we have confusion. When a Pokemon is confused, it has a high chance of hurting itself instead of using a move. Now, going back to moves, as I'm sure you've noticed, stats are critical when it comes to move tutoring. When you're tutoring a Pokemon, you need to read through their stats and tutor them according to their strength. Let's take a look at Greninja. When we look at his stats, we see that he has a high special attack. So, when I train him, I'm going to teach him moves that take advantage of that stat, such as Hydro Pump or Surf. Now that we understand what kind of moves we need to teach our Pokemon, let's talk about what type of moves we need to tutor. When you're tutoring your Pokemon, you generally want to teach your Pokemon moves that match its own type. The reason for this is that when a Pokemon uses a move that matches its type, it gets what's called Same Type Attack Bonus, or Stab. This means that those moves will become 50% more powerful. So now we know one or two of the four moves should be moves that matches its type. What about the other two moves? Well, your other moves should be dedicated to what we refer to as coverage moves. Coverage moves are moves that fight against your Pokemon's weakness. For example, Pokemon can learn a lot of moves that don't match its type. This allows you to teach Pokemon moves to counter other Pokemon that could be super effective against it. For example, Dark-type Pokemon are weak to Fighting-type Pokemon, but a lot of Dark-type Pokemon can learn Psychic-type moves, and Psychic moves are super effective against Fighting-type Pokemon, which gives you a way to cover its weaknesses. Now it's time to put all this information into practice by tutoring this brand new Greninja. First, let's look at his stats. The first thing I notice is that he has a high special attack, like we mentioned earlier. So I'm going to give him special moves. Since he's a water and dark type, I think I'll teach him Hydro Pump and Dark Pulse for his main stab attacks. As his last two attacks, I think I'll teach him Extra Sensory to deal with Fighting type Pokemon, and Ice Beam to deal with Grass type Pokemon. Now, if you're looking at the moves Greninja learns by leveling up, you may notice he doesn't actually learn Dark Pulse or Ice Beam. That's because he learns these moves by TM. TMs are special items that are solely used to teach certain moves to your Pokemon. As you continue on your Pokemon journey, you're going to become very familiar with these. Trust me. But now that we have him tutored, let's talk briefly about abilities. Every Pokemon has their own special ability. Abilities are used to either help out your Pokemon or hinder your opponent's Pokemon. For example, Greninja's ability is Torrent. Torrent powers up his water-type moves when his HP drops to a third. Not only do many Pokemon have more than one ability, but they can also have what's called a hidden ability. Hidden abilities are abilities that are generally better than their other abilities. The catch, however, is that it's extremely hard to find a Pokemon that has its hidden ability. For example, Greninja's hidden ability is Protean. Protean changes Greninja's type depending on what move he uses. Abilities become much more important in the competitive scene, but it's important to at least be familiar with what they are. And that concludes my lesson on tutoring a casual team. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Also, if there's a video you guys want to see, leave a comment down below, or follow me on Twitter and hit me up there. Thanks for watching! Class dismissed.